It's a genealogical scavenger hunt. I'm liking it. And you know, wherever you are in the South, descendants of the Africans, for hundreds of years, this is the land that we've bled into, that we've sweated into. I'm interested in my people's story, and I'm interested as a daughter of my father in the story. Hi.
Hi.
Alfre.
So nice to meet you.
Oh, can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Oh, good. I was hoping you could help me go back into some records and find my great-grandfather, Alexander Woodard.
So you know that he would be listed under a white Woodard family. Mm-hmm. Enslaved people often kept the surnames of their owners. So if you get separated from those that are your kin, then you know how to find them because that's the last name of the estate that you all were living on together.
Right. So how do we look for my great-grandfather?
We'll find this information within white slaveholding records. Mm-hmm. And one of the books is probably here. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Wow. So the annual returns are what?
For tax purposes, they had to keep track of every single piece of property.
So they paid taxes on the slaves?
Mm-hmm. He was born when?
1841.
He wouldn't show up until he's older because the children did not necessarily survive their first few years of life. So until they reached age 5, they then started appearing with names in the records. So maybe late 1840s.
1874, 1872. Ta-da! Here we go. 7 March, 1849. Praisement and sales.
Yes.
That's it? My goodness.
Yep.
God, this is weird. I'm nervous.
The indexes are in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. There's a John Woodard. My heart is racing.
Yes, this could be a slaveholder that owned your family. So let's see what we find on page 42.
42?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the praisement of the estate of John Woodward, deceased, not Woodard.
Because there's different people that are keeping the records, the names often have variations. So the spelling will change, you know? And we're gonna see that throughout the records.
So what am I looking at here?
When somebody passed away, they would keep an appraisement of the estate. So they would have to itemize everything. So why don't we read what it says here?
Peggy and Child, $900. So these are the people who are enslaved?
Yes.
Okay. Amanda, $300. Epse?
Yes.
$200. Millie, $600. Does that say Alec?
Yes, it does. That's your great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather. Oh God, it makes me weepy. 1851.
Yes.
He's a boy. He's 10 years old.
He's about 9 or 10.
Alec, $400.
That would make sense. We know that slaves were about 10 years old at that value.
Who's his mom?
We don't know. Slaves didn't have birth certificates. It's safe to say that some of the women here probably served as mother roles. So even though we can't confirm who his parents are.
That's his family.
Exactly.
Because that's how we do family.
Exactly. We call it fictive kin or play kin, like play cousins.
Play cousin on your mama's side.
Exactly. And so this is exactly what we see.
Starting in the early 1600s, more than 10 million Africans were stolen from their homelands and forced into slavery in North and South America and the Caribbean. Nearly 400,000 were brought to North America, where they were made to work for white landowners. As they were considered property, enslaved people had no legal rights. Bought, sold, hired out, and traded, they were often separated from their own families and left to fend for themselves in new and dangerous situations. To preserve their humanity and sense of community, slaves created family wherever they lived. For slaves like Alfre Woodard's great-grandfather Alec, these kinship networks provided a crucial form of support in bearing the burden of a life in chains.
Let's keep reading.
1 horse,
For
a
$65.
mare, 23 head of sheep, 25 head of hogs, slaves would be included with the livestock.
Exactly.
You know, he only has about 11 slaves.
From what I can see here, typical small slaveholder. We know that John Woodard had already passed in
Right.
1851. So there's this space where you know your owner has passed and you're waiting to find out what that means for you. That has to be a very stressful time for Alec.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Next one is 426. Distributing of the estate of John Woodard, deceased.
So you know what that means, right? When when an owner dies, what happens?
Everybody's split up in different directions.
Exactly.
Oh, God, we're gonna find out where Alec went.
They lived in fear of separation.
I'm getting dizzy. This is making me anxious. I'm sorry, baby.
You don't have to, please. I have a to see.